Hey guys, it's Thor here. This week on Blu-ray and DVD, we've got some great titles to tell you about. We start with Scarlett Johansson in the action thriller Lucy, directed by Luc Besson. Morgan Freeman also stars in this one, and she plays a woman who inadvertently gets some nasty drug that she ingests, and that allows her to use 100% of her brain capacity, transforming her into a lethal warrior. Take a look.
Hello?
Yes, I have important information about a group of drug traffickers. I need to speak with someone in a position of authority.
Aha. You're very lucky there's no one with more authority in this office than me. What is your name?
Listen up, Pierre Dolio. Get off your desk, sit in your chair, pick up the red pen to the left of you, and take down everything I say.
Yeah, the movie goes from, like sort of a bizarre premise to just downright wacky as she gets more and more power and is able to access more and more of her brain. But I have to say, this movie was a huge success at the box office, and that's really interesting considering it's not a franchise, it's not a sequel, it's a totally original story. And Luc Besson brings a lot of European flair to it. It's set across the pond there, as it were. So I found it very refreshing. Scarlett Johansson proves that she's a great leading lady in this one. It's very superficial. I mean, it relies heavily on action, on a lot of style. The story is very simple, but it's done effectively. It's a hell of an entertaining ride. Just don't think too much about it. And some of the scenes where he's sort of trying to talk about the evolution of man and nature and things like that, they cut to these scenes that look like they're right out of planet Earth. And then you've got these interesting things, CG sort of work that show what's actually happening to her bloodstream and her body on a physiological level when the drug is inside her. But she does a great job transforming into this warrior and becomes almost like a female born. But I really enjoyed Lucy, and Scarlett Johansson. It's got so much magnetism. She's fun to watch, and it's a very entertaining movie, as I say, and it just goes from wacky to downright absurd and ludicrous. But if you're willing to take that kind of journey, strap in. You won't be disappointed. All right, next we're talking another gritty drama, but this one a little more realistic. The Drop, starring two great actors. One of them no longer with us, James Gandolfini, one of his final roles, and Tom Hardy, who's always awesome. And this one is about two local bartenders who have a test of loyalty when a robbery goes wrong in their establishment. Take a look.
You need to see this, Marv.
No, I don't. I don't need to do anything. I'm just gonna stand right here.
No, you really should take a look at this.
I don't need to see Europe. I don't need to see Dottie. And I don't need to see what's in that bag.
There you go, some very dramatic stuff there. So basically the robbery goes bad and they're on the hook for a mob debt they can't repay. Tom Hardy is so watchable, and he really becomes this character in a very special way. I enjoyed his performance, and the way he plays off Gandolfini is so wonderful. And to watch James Gandolfini, in the sort of latter days of his life here, still put out such a scenery-chewing performance. This is a nice little throwback to these sort of 70s era thrillers of this ilk. Not a lot of action, just more of a character study. And when the action does come, it's ferocious at times, but quite realistic. So I enjoyed The Drop. Noomi Rapace also has some supporting work there, and she does a good job. So I like the script and the characters, and it is a satisfying little gritty urban drama. The Drop. Tom Hardy, so utterly watchable. There's Noomi Rapace there. All right, next, Annabelle. We're talking horror for this one, and you may remember the doll from The Conjuring. Well, she got her own spin-off movie, and this movie is actually directed by the cinematographer who worked on The Conjuring, and The Conjuring director James Wan producing this one. Get a look at Annabelle. Oh my God, I hope the baby's okay. Don't mess with the babies, people. I mean, if you've seen, the sort of possessed films where the dolls come alive, you've seen them all. This is no different. It's nowhere near as scary as The Conjuring. It relies a lot on those jump scare tactics, but there's a huge market for that, a huge audience where people don't necessarily need anything new when it comes to groundbreaking scares. The doll itself is very creepy, and it is modeled after the actual doll in The Conjuring, which was a sort of a true story that resided in this glass case in Connecticut that belonged to those people at the center of of The Conjuring, but this one kind of dulls in comparison to those psychological thrills, although it does have its moments. Very creepy. You want to make sure you got the lights on when you're watching this one, or you might want to have a little scare fest and turn them off. Oh, that's so creepy! All right, next we're talking Rudderless, and this is from first-time director William H. Macy, who we normally see in front of the camera acting, but this one he steps behind the lens. He's also featured in this film as well. This is a very interesting little movie about a young man who is killed, and his dad, played by Billy Crudup, he's a former high-profile ad executive, devastated to learn about his musician son's death. He discovers a box full of his demo tapes, and basically he starts this downward spiral of grieving, but that kind of comes to a standstill when he finds this gift, this unexpected gem of all these demo tapes. So he decides to get together and form a band. He kind of becomes reclusive, but he gets in this band and he starts performing the songs that his late son wrote and crafted. And along the way, he meets up with Anton Yelchin, who's a local musician who finds him at the bar. The unlikely duo forms a rock band and become a local sensation. It's a very emotional journey, and it basically revitalizes both of their lives. There's some great sort of indie folk rock music in the film itself, so you can tell they used a lot of real performers and real musicians. And the script and the story ask a lot of the actors, but it's grounded nicely by Billy Crudup, who is very authentic, I think, in all of his roles. So you really bought into the characters. Anton Yelchin is such a great young talent as well. Felicity Huffman has a small role, as well as Selena Gomez. And Lawrence Fishburne plays a very kindly sort of owner of a local music store. I really enjoyed Rudderless, and clearly William H. Macy has been paying attention over the years as an actor to what makes a great film and what goes into directing. So this is a hidden little gem, and you might want to check it out if you haven't heard about it. Rudderless, get it now. And finally, this one is coming to video on demand this coming Friday, The Humbling, with Al Pacino and Greta Gerwig, and this is directed by the great Barry Levinson. Sort of a drama comedy about an actor whose world is turned upside down when he embarks on an affair with a lesbian. Pacino plays the seasoned actor who's having sort of a midlife crisis, a little towards the maybe end of his career kind of crisis. It's adapted from the Philip Roth novel, and Greta Gerwig is great as the lesbian that he strikes up this affair with. Great supporting cast too, including Charles Grodin, who you see there, and Dan Hedaya. This was an official selection of the 2014 Toronto International Film Fest. You know, I dug this one. It wasn't ever hilarious, but it was a very interesting character study for Al Pacino, who usually is known for being a little bit over the top and vociferous, but this one he was toned down a little bit. It really was a good sort of look at an aging actor who's struggling with you know, what he wants to do in his life and looking back at his legacy. And Greta Gerwig plays off him very well. A witty little script, a nice kind of movie, nothing sort of dazzling or groundbreaking about it, but just a interesting little film that examines celebrity culture and you know, looking back at your life and sort of looking to leave your mark. And it examines adult relationships in a very mature way. Diane Wiest also. Some great performances in this one. It's got an excellent cast. The Humbling, so once again, that's on video on demand this coming Friday. That's it, people. I'm Thor Dykow. It's this week on Blu-ray and DVD concluding. We'll see you next week on breakfasttelevision.ca.